when I did this breath work, it was like my body finally got to rest. It really was, my brain got hijacked. I was able to experience a different sense of relief about things that were happening in my daily life. So it really helped me realign. And I think that a lot of people are out there seeking that, even if it's unconsciously, their bodies are asking for things for relief from stress.
I am Gloria Grace Rand, founder of the Love Method and author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Live, Love, Engage: How to Stop Doubting Yourself and Start Being Yourself. In this podcast, we share practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically, so you can create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. Welcome to Live, Love, Engage. Namaste. Get ready to discover how simple breathing techniques can be your secret weapon for melting away stress and finally releasing those emotions you've been carrying around like heavy baggage. So if you have been craving a natural way to feel lighter, clearer, and more connected to your divine purpose, well, then today's conversation with our guest is going to be exactly what your soul has been searching for. But first, I do want to welcome you to Live, Love, Engage, especially if this is your first time. I am Gloria Grace, founder of Align to Shine Academy, and I work with spiritually minded women entrepreneurs to help them break free from self-doubt so they can really step into their highest purpose with clarity and true confidence. So joining us in just a moment is Akary Busto, and she is an emotional biohacker, certified HeartMath practitioner, and human design expert who empowers individuals to unlock their energetic blueprint and transform their lives. And with a unique approach that combines nervous system regulation, trauma transformation, and energy alignment, Akary helps clients shift from feeling stuck and overwhelmed to radiant and resilient. And I think we all could use a little bit more of that in our lives. Why not, right? So without further ado, I'm going to bring her up here today and welcome you, Akary, to Live, Love, Engage.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you on as well because you are going to be talking about a topic that in all of my 5 years now so far, we're in our 6th season already of doing the show, I don't think I've had anybody specifically focus in on breath work. I think they've mentioned it maybe in, combination with other things, but I know I've dabbled in that a little bit and I know how powerful it can be, but I'd love for you to first off maybe tell our audience, how is breath work per se like different from just, our normal everyday breathing that we get to do because we're alive?
Well, I guess it's intentional breathing.
Okay.
We can really sit and focus on our breath, which is very hard, yet we do it every day, right? We do it all
Right.
day, every day.
Right.
So it is really funny because when we think about the stuff that we're going through every day, we recognize and we realize that we're shallow breathers. Do you ever catch yourself, Gloria?
Oh yeah. Sometimes, yeah. And I do, when I'm meditating, I do try to consciously focus in on having that be deeper. But yeah, I think probably more often than not, just regular every day during the day, it's not that from the diaphragm thing, right?
Yeah. So what I typically share with people is that you're recycling old oxygen that's hanging out here when we're shallow, and we're all shallow breathers, and we all have
Mm.
bad posture, and we all have a really hard time, focusing in what we need to be doing. So when we're doing this intentional breathing, there's just a lot of magic that comes with it because you hear it all the time. Why don't you just pause before you respond? Or why don't you take a breath before you respond? It's so easy to be said, but it really is a little muscle that you have to exercise. So creating intentional breathing is what's going to bring you so many different results that you probably didn't know you could access.
Yeah. And following up with that, because again, I'm thinking of because I know some. Oh, I know. Yes, I have a friend of mine who she's like a certified breath work, I don't know, practitioner or something like that, and she does this really like, and I've done one of the sessions with her where it's like this really, type of breathing. So is that what you focus in on, or is tell me a little bit more about like what do you do? What do you teach people to do?
So yes, I am a breathwork facilitator, and
Mm,
what we do is we breathe under the belly, we breathe into the heart space, and we exhale.
mm,
And that is more of a meditation facilitation, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to hijack the brain, right? The
mm,
brain is the most powerful motor in the body. A lot of us use our brain to make decisions, but what I challenge my people is to realize that the number one job of the brain is to keep you safe. And so when we are connected to our brain, we're constantly working on just keeping ourselves safe, and we don't get a chance to explore and experience life, right? We're wearing our safety goggles.
mm.
So when we're doing this breath, we do things a little different. We do it with our mouth open. So it is the only time that I suggest anyone breathing with their mouth open. Disclaimer. And what we're doing is we're doing things different because the brain is so powerful, it recognizes patterns. And so if we disrupt the pattern, then we're able to hijack that brain. So when we're doing this breath work technique, yeah, we're going, and I am a believer that gentle can get us to the same place than, going really hot and heavy with the breath. So doing it very methodically works really well for me and my clients because it's a nervous system thing. Sometimes when
Mm.
you're bringing too much oxygen and not exhaling enough CO2, people will get hand cramping. And I don't think anyone has to experience any pain when you're doing this.
Yeah. So what is trying to think. There's like a million questions are going through my mind right now. So I'm
I
trying
love
to
it. I
I'm trying
love
so
it.
maybe I should stop and breathe, right?
Take a pause.
Yeah, so let me think. Okay. So what would be a good reason why someone wants to I'm gonna start there first. What would be a good reason why someone would want to do that type of breathing that you're talking about, that the gentle, more gentle, but still a deeper breathing?
So, because I work with the nervous system, I really believe that going gracefully and easing into it is going to help you. There's so many people who have different types of experiences. So, for me, doing this breath work is a way to reset your nervous system and get you to a place where you feel realigned with yourself. And so, the reason I go gentle is because we can always work on that. If we go really hard, it's harder to go down, right? It's like you already experienced something. And if you have a bad experience, it's only human. We won't want to do it again. And so if we work through it gently, we get to expand and we get to move at the rhythm that your body requires you to move. I believe that there's a lot of re-traumatization that happens when people are not careful with their practice.
Mm. Yeah, I know, because that's what part of what they say. It helps you to sort of release some of these stuck emotions and stuck traumas and things. But yeah, if you're not careful, it's like anything. I think any type of work that you're doing, emotional work, it can be very dicey if you're not. Especially if, like, number one, if you're trying to do it by yourself, or if you're working with someone who's maybe not has an expertise at that,
And
right?
that's the big piece that I have very much in my forefront is consent, right? First it's
Mm,
consent. Second is being able to talk about what are the issues that are coming across. If you're in a circle, it's a little more difficult to address personal things. So if you want to experience it one-on-one, I think that gives you an opportunity to unload some of the heavy things that are happening and have a focus right on you and your needs.
Yeah. How did you get interested in doing this type of work?
You know, my corporate background is in business banking, and so I was probably one of very few women at the table with all of this business banking, and I ended my banking career as an offshore banker, based out of the Isle of Man, and being the only woman at the table, there was just so much stress because, just we're not believed, right? I mean, I'm not going to tell you something new. There's a lot of different things that don't go right for us. And so there was a lot of stress in my body, and I knew that I needed to learn how to meditate. So I tried to do what's called transcendental meditation, which is 20 minutes of just silence and meditating, and my brain just would not stop. It's just type A personality, have to keep
Yeah.
thinking. And so when I would go into this transcendental meditation, it's like automatically like letting my brain start making, lists of things that needed to get done or things that I had not even thought about that needed to get accomplished. And so when I did this breath work, it was like my body finally got to rest. It really was my brain got hijacked. I was able to experience a different sense of relief about things that were happening in my daily life. So it really helped me realign. And I think that a lot of people are out there seeking that, even if it's unconsciously, their bodies are asking for things for relief from stress. And now that we're learning a little bit more about what stress does to our body, the high cortisol levels and all of that, I think that we're all seeking some sort of relief, but we don't know where to find it.
Yeah. Well, and that is a perfect segue to my next question. So, if someone out there, listening, watching today is feeling stressed, what would be like an easy technique that they could use to get started in
So
relieving that?
what I love about my work is that, yeah, breath work with me or a session, a circle, whatever it is that you want to do, it takes a lot of thinking and planning, right? Because you're not going to start dropping yourself on the floor and start breathing whenever you're challenged at the grocery store or at the bank. So I tapped into what's called HeartMath. It is an institute that's been studying the heart for over 25 years, a lot of scientists, and we really start to look into the heart. So I find it to be very practical, and as you start to practice it more and more, your body starts requiring, wanting it, desiring that balance, that homeostasis where that leaves you. And really, it is just about connecting into the heart space. And connecting into that heart space, you start to slow down. And the more you practice this, again, it's the brain. You're rewiring your brain and you're creating new little neural pathways to the brain so that it is teaching your brain how to respond versus react.
And I was going to ask you about about HeartMath because I know I've been following them for quite a while as well, and I think I even did a program with them not a while ago, maybe a year or two ago. So could you maybe demonstrate a little bit, so that people will understand, because I know when you say, go into the heart, well, what does that mean exactly?
So the heart is it's a powerhouse of its own. We kind of say that the heart has its own brain. So when you're sitting and your back is towards a door, you feel the presence of someone. And it's not the brain that's capturing that, it's actually the electromagnetic field of the heart. So think about how smart the heart is, that it can detect things around you without the brain even noticing. So that electromagnetic field goes about 3 to 5 feet outside of your body, connecting to everybody. And so I teach people it's not personal, it's energy. When someone walks into the room and lights up the room, it's that energy that they're bringing in. And when your nervous system is strong, if someone walks in and their energy is negative and like it takes a lot of people down, they just, it is a nervous system issue. If you are in your bubble and you are in your alignment, no one's going to come and take that positive vibe out of you. It's not possible. It is whatever we allow to happen with that energy. So the HeartMath Institute has been so educational because they've done so much research in the heart that we recognize that connecting to our heart is what allows us to neutralize the emotions that we're feeling. So there's two sides to it. We can feel a negative emotion or a positive emotion, and still the heart beats the same. Tell me if that's not like mind
Yeah.
boggling.
Yeah.
What differentiates that heartbeat is actually that emotion and how you're processing that emotion.
Mm.
And, when you start going into the science of that, you just go, wow, your heart is literally getting a pounding when you're experiencing a negative emotion. When you're experiencing a positive emotion and you're coming down, like some sort of slide, or you're experiencing laughter, right? The heart beats the same as if you were angry and having a tantrum or a fit, or you're stressed, or you're just in a very depleted space. The other side of it is feeling your heartbeat at a lower space. And how damaging is it when someone is very sad, feeling hopeless, right? Or feeling calm and in a meditative space. Like, you can tell the difference just by the emotion. It's not even the heart.
Wow.
It's not the heart. It's the
Yeah.
emotion.
Okay. And which leads me to my other question here, because I'm looking at, for those of you who are listening, you won't see, but you've got underneath your name on our video here, it says emotional biohacker. So what do you mean by biohacker? I can get the emotion because you've already been talking about that, but yeah, can you explain that?
It's hacking a lot of different things that are available to us, but we're not aware of it. So it's a three-legged stool. It's mind, it's body, and it's soul. And a lot of the things that I like to teach people is based on foundational things. If you are not eating well, it is really hard to keep this practice going. If your body is not moving and it's stagnant, it's going to be really hard for you to elevate your mood. We are learning more and more that if you just go for a 20-minute walk every day, it is so much healthier than you running, than you doing CrossFit, than you doing all of these high intensity, exercises. So the biohacking is very foundational work around adding more protein into your diet, being more mindful about the intake of empty carbs that you are, experiencing, because all of that really has an effect on your mental health.
Well, I guess I'm biohacking myself right now because I do go for a walk for 30 minutes every morning, and I have been doing much better with my food intake now. I have not having any of that junk carbs for several months now, and just focusing on, good protein and vegetables, and, and the occasional fruit. And I start every morning with a green smoothie now, and man, it tastes so good. I mean, from when I first started, it was like, it's okay. But now it's like, I look forward to it every morning.
It is what your body is asking for.
Yeah.
You're giving it fuel. You are actually feeling. I always do this analogy. It's like so many people want to get into their car without any gas. They turn it on and they're wondering why it doesn't go. And it's not brain surgery, right? It's very simple. It's like you're not feeding your body. It's not, you're not nurturing your body the way it requires and the way it needs. And what I love about your 30-minute walk in the mornings is that you are getting the early morning sunshine, which also helps your circadian rhythm, which also helps the developing of melatonin, which also allows you to get vitamin D, which is, the precursor of so many different things in our body. So when my clients start to make these little shifts and changes with the help of our HeartMath techniques, we start shifting baselines. We start to go from where we were at and we elevate. It's natural.
Yeah.
And all it takes is just a little tweaking. So yeah, I have practical pieces. And the beautiful thing about HeartMath is they've developed so many apps that we can tap into. So now with the HeartMath sensor, you plug it in and you can see your nervous system live
Oh, wow.
incoherent. So people say, what does it feel to be calm? Oh, okay, well, it feels this way. And then when you put the sensor on and they can actually see what calm feels like, it is completely different than what they originally thought.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine because well, what do they say? Seeing is believing. But but yeah, you have that more concrete proof.
And
So that's pretty cool.
that's where the biohacking really comes, because if you can see the data,
Mm,
you can actually, like, things just start to come into place, right? Because we're
yeah,
visual creatures.
right.
We're seeing that, and so now all of a sudden you're like, I'm feeling it without the sensor.
Mm,
So the sensor is just a tool to get us to that space, but really what we're trying to do is we're trying to feel that calm in the middle of chaos.
mm,
So, we're experiencing a lot of chaos right now. So what do? Is I ground myself, I connect to my heart, and I tell myself, I will know what I need to know when I need to know it.
mm. Yeah, that's wise words, and I know sometimes it's hard to well, maybe not hard, but it can be challenging sometimes, I think, to really lean into that, but it's practice. I think, as you were saying, that it's just you have to start small and start baby steps and then get there. Um, you you do so many things. You have so many different modalities. I know you, in fact, even before we got on the call, you were talking about you were dealing with, I think, a client who involved in your human design. And I know I had a woman on a couple of years ago, I think, or maybe last year, possibly, to talk about that. But for those who are new to the podcast, maybe and haven't found that out, I know a little bit about it. I've delved into it. Um, Although I've decided that I like the gene keys
Oh,
aspect of that so much more. It's very poetic and it appeals to the writer and reader in me. But could you maybe talk a little bit about human design too? I mean, what the heck? We'll just cover everything today.
I am a lover of human design because it helps. Again, the foundational part of my work is to get you to understand yourself from an energetic space. Human design teaches us how to make decisions. The Gene Keys pulls the life and soul purpose from human design, which is where the Gene Keys come from. And it is so interesting because you get to start peeling the onion, well, peeling the layers of a lot of onions, because
Mm,
the human design chart has a lot of conundrums, but it teaches us where we have not been in alignment with who we really are. A lot of it is conditioning. So the work that I do, the breath work and the nervous system work, is part of deconditioning, right? Getting rid of these beliefs that don't belong to me, that maybe came from one generation to the next, or that, it was the way my parents imprinted on me. So there's so many different variables, life experience as well. So deconditioning and moving out of those things that I thought I believed in, but really I never did. They didn't align with me, and finding who I am authentically. And
mm,
the astrology component of human design is so fascinating to me because it's the planets and it's been around for so many years. Uh, and that's what I love too, is that human design picks up from 5 different systems: Eastern and Western astrology, the I Ching, which is the book of wisdom for the Chinese, the Kabbalah, the tree of life, the chakra system, which, is so popular now, and then quantum physics. And so when you bring these systems together and you pull a little bit of each one of them, it's fascinating how it creates such a beautiful story. And my life and soul purpose, based on my human design chart, is to help people reframe the narrative of their story. And so, for
mm.
me, when I learned that, it was like, wow, yeah.
Yeah, well, and now you've encouraged me to maybe delve back into the human design part, because I wasn't even thinking about the quantum physics, and quantum physics just fascinates the life out of me. I love reading books about it. I just read an old book not too long ago. Oh, the holographic mind.
Mm.
That was very cool. Then I've read something about the Wuling Masters, which is a real good primer into understanding quantum physics. And I just I love how science and spirituality are coming together so much, and I think it's so really exciting. I'm grateful to be alive right now, even though there's so much chaos going on in our world, seemingly, but at the same time, I feel that there's also a lot of good in the world, and especially I get to meet, people like you who are out there, helping others and in this way. Uh,
And
what do you
that's
think?
that that but see, that's the beautiful part of traditional human design,
Mm,
where it is here to awaken us to who we
mm,
are not.
mm,
So I focus in the quantum space of human design because it teaches you to accept who you really are.
mm,
The shadow of who we are, we're so attuned to it because it's
mhm,
so much louder, and because our critic always, that critic part of us always shows up. And so tapping into the quantum space of who I can be in my highest expression gives us that permission slip to tap into that a lot more. Shifts a lot of the narrative that we have in our inside of us that we've heard for years and years, and it becomes that, that little record player that sounds in the middle of our every time we want to do something daring that says, no, you cannot. No, you're not able to. Why are you going to do it? And as you are transforming all of that narrative into a more quantum positive, higher space, higher vibing, who are you not? Marianne Williamson's quote, who are you to be small? Right?
yeah, absolutely. I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, yeah, it's so good.
So I'm curious, Gloria, do you know what your type is?
I'm a manifesting generator. I
All
know
right.
that
All
much.
right. So
Yeah.
you're a generator type. I love
Mm.
it. So do you know a little bit about the magic of manifesting generators?
Um, a little bit, but it's been a while now, so I don't totally remember anymore.
So I'm going to tell you because it's pretty fabulous.
Okay.
Manifesting generators are the only hybrids, a little bit of
Mm,
manifester and
mm.
a lot of generator. Okay. A lot of energy, a lot of busyness. You are here to find shortcuts to life, to master the work that you love. So you're here for mastery, and you're here to save us a lot of time.
Well, that's interesting because I'm working with another woman on a project, and I do try to do that. I do look for ways to make things better. Sometimes they don't always work out in the short term, but I know eventually they will. But yeah, that is funny. Yeah, I do like to find, yeah,
Shortcuts.
I like easy. I want things to be easy and relaxed. I had a coach who used to talk about this a lot, easy and relaxed. I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's what I want too.
Yeah. And you guys make about 35% of the population.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so this is why generators make 38% of the population. So that's a lot
Hmm.
of generator energy, which
Yeah.
that is why we live in a very hustle, just do it world,
Yeah.
because we are reflecting, really, we're living in a generator world.
Mhm. That's
And
true.
so one of the questions that usually comes up, which makes me laugh, is if we just got rid of the generators, we would get rid of all the greed, all the hustle, all the hurry, everybody would be in peace. And then the comeback to that is, yeah, you would starve.
I was going to say, still need to have stuff needs to get done. You got to have garbage has to get picked up. You've got to,
No one's gonna do
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So yeah,
We
it's
need
how
it.
you realize we all belong.
Absolutely. Yes, that's true for sure. Because we are all unique. We all have these unique, amazing gifts, talents, abilities, and gifts. I had another coach who used to say, and yeah, and it's our duty to use them to the best of our abilities to make the world a better place, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I am a generator, and that
Okay.
is that is it's very different to the manifesting generator, but also very alike, right? We
Yeah.
have a lot of similar, and here's the thing is I always have to remind myself, because I do act like a manifesting generator, but it's
Mm.
because I was raised by
Oh,
manifesting generators.
okay.
Having my parents always doing busy, like a
Mm.
million things always happening at the same time. So that was like my conditioning. And I realized I do that and I don't like it. Like I love focus
Mhm.
on one project and
Okay.
get it done. I get a lot of satisfaction
Yeah.
from completing things. And my
Mm.
parents didn't always complete things. So there was always something going on, and it didn't always have to be finished. And it was like, for me, it was very frustrating.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. Well, I will tell you though, one of the things in my former career, I used to work in television, but I worked for a business program, business news show, and so I did like the fact that we went on every day, and at the end of the day, that show was done. And so we come in tomorrow with a whole new set of news that we have to deal with.
Mhm.
And so, there wasn't really, too much like homework kind of thing, So
Right.
it was so I guess that part appealed to the generator part of me as opposed to maybe
Right.
working there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we could go on and on. I could talk
Oh
about
my
this
God.
for hours. It's just
Yeah.
so fascinating. It is so fascinating. And what human design really teaches us is it teaches us to not take it personal. It
Mhm.
is energy.
Yeah.
It is energy. And it doesn't always mean it's real. I always share this. It's like we're seeing like little trailers of everyone around us. We're not seeing the full picture. And so we see these trailers and we tend to judge based off of these trailers.
Yeah. And that's not a good thing. Definitely not. Judgment gets you into trouble.
But that's why human design is so powerful, because it
Yeah.
does teach you to take a pause and
Mm,
recognize that it is not personal. It may just be by design.
right.
And so my manifesting generator friends, they're just fast. They're just like, and I'm just, so I share a story of the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
The tortoise is the generator, and the hare the manifesting generator. And the tortoise is just blump, 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 blump. And the hare is like, toot, 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 shiny object, right? They
Yes.
both end the race at the same time. But how rich is the
Mm,
experience of the manifesting generator who has been all over the place in that same amount of time? And what happens is that, like you were sharing, like not all of the steps get completed because you're skipping steps. And yeah,
mm,
you have to sometimes come back to figure out where you went wrong, but
mm.
sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
And you get to complete these projects at a really fast pace. And it's beautiful to be able to be acknowledged for it,
Mm.
to be validated for it, to be accepted for it, and to be loved by, for who you are,
Mm.
by your design, without any judgment.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. Yes. So I'm going to change gears slightly here, and because I like to ask my guests this when time allows, and I feel we have a little bit left. So, what are you curious about right now?
Right now, what am I curious about? There's a lot of curiosity. So in my human design, my profile numbers are a 1 and a 3, and the 1 is the researcher, and the 3 is the explorer. And I've been really curious around how can we parent children based off of their human design chart. So because of that, I've been diving deeper into creating more content around what it is like to raise a manifestor child. What is it like to raise a manifesting generator child? And it's been really interesting because even though my daughter's older now, I continue to learn ways to support her nervous system, to support her based off of her own human design chart. And I'm really curious on how that would help other people.
Mm.
How parenting could be so much more effective and easier if we start parenting based off of our children's human design chart versus parenting them based off of what do we need, right? Because
Mhm.
we tend to parent based off of what we didn't have,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
that isn't really applicable with our kids.
Mhm.
Everybody
Yeah.
is a unique little human being with unique different needs.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, learning human design and parenting by design
Mm.
has been the most rewarding piece, because now my daughter and I have a relationship that a lot of people out there really envy. And I say it's so easy. Learn their design.
Mm.
Learn what their themes are, and learn what they need. Some children need to go to bed 30 minutes before bedtime just to down,
Right.
down all that stuff
Decompress. Yeah. Yeah.
all of the stuff that happened during the day. Some kids need to sleep alone because, that the energy of a sibling may be too much.
Mm,
Again, we go back to it's not personal, it's energy.
mm,
And learning that some of our children are not generator types, and we have to have a lot of compassion and empathy for them not being able to complete projects as fast as maybe a sibling can. So learning all of those nuances really is so helpful. So that's what I'm really diving into right now and figuring out how to help parents, because what happens is I end up coaching women and moms, and
mhm,
that is one of the big things is how do I develop a better relationship with my child?
mm.
And then I stop and I have to focus on, okay, well, let's get their chart. Let's see how the energetics work.
Right.
Let's put all that together. And then I thought, what if I just do that separate,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
that they can really tap into that so that we can really focus on the things that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love parenting by design. That's a good title for whatever program, book, possibly, yeah.
There's so much room to explore in this.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, awesome. Is there anything else that I should have asked you, maybe even about breath work or heart math or anything that I didn't? Any other last point you want to leave our listeners with today?
I do, because there's a lot of misinformation around breathwork, especially in the
Mm,
US. Breathwork is not a regulated, modality here in the US, but it is regulated in the UK.
mm,
And because of that, they are so much more in depth with their studies around trauma, around consent, as I said before. And so we get a lot of people on social media saying, come and heal your trauma, or come and heal, whatever it is that you're carrying. And breath work, I think, is a beautiful way to reset your nervous system, but it doesn't take away from the real deep work that you have to do. I think the HeartMath Institute has done a fantastic job of really going a little deeper, which is that connection to the heart, which creates new neural pathways. And I think that's where the magic is. But still, there still needs to be some sort of accountability when it comes to transforming and understanding that we're not really healing anything. We're transforming, transmuting, and shifting. But healing is not linear, and it may take cycles, right? We live in a cyclical world. So things tend to come back around. And so
mhm.
understanding that a breathwork session is not going to be the be all, and to be
Right.
open minded, because every breathwork session that you go to will always be different. Something new will always come through. And my new phrase right now is new level, new devil.
Wait a minute. Seriously, because I am listening to a CD from a songwriter who wrote a song exactly that title. I swear,
we're,
and
we're,
I'm
we're
blanking on his name at the moment, but if I think of it, I will maybe link it in the show notes or something. Seriously, in
Yeah.
fact, I think that's even the name of his CD,
Wow, I have
actually.
to look it up now.
Okay, yeah. Oh my
But
goodness.
really it is every time we upgrade, it's
Yeah,
all new challenges, new things that we haven't even thought of or explored. Like every new year, right? We go
right.
backwards and we go, well, what happened last year? And what, oh my God, I never thought that this was going to happen. And when you work with me, when I teach you the nervous system work, when I get you the sensor, because that's part of my practice, is to make sure that you have a heart math sensor to work with.
Mm,
These are the foundational tools that you always get to go back and lean into. Go back
mhm.
to the basics.
Yeah.
Do the heart math techniques. Continue to build from there, and you start to prepare yourself for the next steps.
Ah, I love it. I'm so glad we've connected. Oh my gosh, you are amazing. And I really enjoyed this conversation today. And I know everybody else is as well. And they're going to want to know more about you. So, how can people connect with you?
I love Instagram, and on my website, you can access me. You can tap into that space and download your human design chart. And if you have any questions, there's a contact me on there. So you can always contact me. I am a very hands on person. Again, I believe that when dealing with the nervous system, you have to be very intimate and close to help
Mhm.
people not be re-traumatized. So that's my favorite thing about my work, is that I get to reach out and talk to so many different people.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I've learned a lot, and yeah, like I said, I'm really glad to have connected with you and to share you with my audience. And I know everybody got some great value out of it today.
Thank you so much for letting me be here and really share some of this magic. I think we should take some classes out of our school curriculum to really teach people how to get grounded and
Mm,
in their feel good space so that we can transform the world.
yeah, absolutely. Love it. All right. Thank you again for watching and for listening. And make sure that you are subscribed on your favorite podcast channel, platform. Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean. And if you're not subscribed on YouTube already, hope you'll do that as well. And until next time, as always, I encourage you to go out and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.